17th of July 2014, a Boeing 777 sits on the gates of Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. Malaysian Airlines had just lost another 777 just 4 months earlier, and the crash had turned into aviation's most mysterious plane crash. The airline at this time were trying to cope with this accident and move on. However, a flight from the Netherlands to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia took off at the wrong place and the wrong time. 283 passengers and 12 crew members were on board that plane, and none of them could imagine the horror that awaits them. The captain of the flight was Captain Wan Amran, First Officer Ahmad Hakimi. Since the flight is 7 hours, a relief crew will take over when the pilots go on their rest break. Captain Eugene Chu and First Officer Mut Firdaus. With their passengers boarded and their checklist completed, they proceed to taxi onto their runway. "12:13 p.m. comes, and the plane takes off. At the exact moment MH17 took off from Amsterdam, eyewitnesses in Ukraine saw what looks to be a mysterious truck carrying a weird trailer. Instead of the usual truck trailer you see, the trailer was slightly rounded and bigger. It moves into a remote stand on a nearby field. Going back to MH17, they were 20 minutes into their flight and cruising smoothly at 30,000 feet. Air traffic control sees the Singapore airline flight was also 30,000 feet. The controller asked if MH17 could climb to 35,000, but they choose to stay at the altitude. This will prove deadly later. Before I continue, I do not actually know what happened with the Russian rebels, but after doing my own research, I can kinda make out what happened. Hours later, now it's 4:19 p.m. on the ground. A group of Russian-backed rebels were trying to track down enemy planes when their radar tracked down MH17. At the grass field where the mysterious truck was parked, the soldiers were arming the mysterious truck with a huge warhead. They removed the cover and revealed it to be a missile launcher. Back in the air, MH17's weather radar detects storms ahead of them. They ask air traffic control to turn left to avoid the storms. They get permission to do so and turns into danger. The Russians were arming their launchers aiming towards MH17, thinking it's an enemy plane. They tried to radio MH17 and solve the problem peacefully. However, a Boeing 777 is not equipped with a military distress signal, so the Russians were ignored. Having enough, the Russians key in their permission to fire and launch us onto a civilian plane. In just a few short seconds, the beautiful aviation technology turns into nothing but a pile of scraps. It crashes into a field in Donetsk Oblast. It is the unthinkable, a Russian surface-to-air missile being launched onto a civilian aircraft. The shock and sadness it brought the loved ones of the passengers were enormous. The investigation was very hard. The investigators could not even reach the crash site, and it was guarded by the Russians. A few months later, they get permission to enter the site. But in those few months, the site was nothing like it was. Some parts are missing, and some parts were tampered with. The Russians really did not want the truth to be let out. However, their plan did not work. The investigators noticed that there was a lot of holes drilled into the debris. So using a build frame of a 777, they managed to piece together a jigsaw puzzle and find out what happened. The holes and some parts of the debris show it can only be inflicted by a surface-to-air missile. To be more specific, a Buck 9 M83. But still, with all this evidence, the Russians still denied these claims. Till this day, the Russians still do not want to take responsibility for the crash. Since the crash was just after MH370, it was a tough time for Malaysia Airlines. And for the families of the victims, it is a nightmare that won't end.